Nicklaus Flaz, 10-2 with 7 KOs. This one scheduled for 8 rounds. Junior middleweight, 154 pounds. It's Jahi's second fight north of 147, where he started his first 8 professional fights before moving up to 54.
Tucker's a young fighter, like many of the top-ranked fighters, who they're developing in real time. We're seeing them grow up in real time. They're making mistakes in the ring. They're trying to correct them the next time out. So with all of these young fighters, it's a wait-and-see proposition. In each fight, you want to try to see them get better and better.
Jahi Tucker coming off his last performance against Nicklaus in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That fight got started quickly, didn't it, Dre? I mean, he got caught, like he just got caught with the right hand there from Flaz early on in that fight, but he showed a lot of grit. It was kind of a dirty, messy fight, but he grew up a bit for me in that fight. We got to see him, you know, show what else he can do.
He showed a different side, the toughness, the grit, the resiliency that he needed to show, but he also showed his eagerness, and being too eager can get you in trouble. And we're seeing a little bit of that in this first round. Not a lot, but that's Tucker's kryptonite, is just being over anxious.
A couple of nice right hands to the body there by Flaz.
Over here.
Looks like a piece of loose tape Wes is going to take care of on Jahi's gloves.
Back over there. Back up. Time in. Box.
Nicklaus Flaz coming off his career best win in his last fight, which was in October of 2022 against Brian Ceballo. And in that fight, he won a majority decision all 8 rounds against an undefeated Ceballo, a fighter that most people thought was going to walk through Flaz. So he, too, kind of been up some momentum in his last fight.
Young fighters early in their careers, they got so much pressure. They got the name from the amateurs. They're supposed to win and look good every time out, and their opponents typically have nothing to lose on the young prospects on the way up.
Tucker getting caught twice with the left hand there. Good start here for Flaz in round 1. As he fights fire with fire, as they go toe-to-toe, just under a minute left here in round 1.
Tucker's starting those combinations, but as he throws, his chin is in the air. Flaz is under his feet in the right position, and he's just throwing with Tucker, and half of those shots landed on the chin of Tucker.
Yeah, not a lot of defense from Jahi Tucker here to start round 1. Getting caught with shots coming right through the middle, just like that right hand did.
Bad habits from the amateurs that he's still trying to shake in real time.
10 seconds. Stop at the belt now.
Block that shot. You see the hand speed of Jahi Tucker there on display in that combination. A little better defense, tightened it up a little bit on the inside there, Dre.
But you can see even when he throws that jab, his chin is up, it's high. Why does that matter? Because your opponent sees that, and all he has to do is throw a punch, and he'll probably land because you don't have your guards to block it, nor are you in a position to get out of the way.
Flaz not putting a lot of steam on these punches, but they're still connecting like that right hand did to the body, set up by the jab up top and then downstairs with the right hand.
Flaz isn't very explosive, but he's willing to throw. Seems to have a good boxing mind, and he's placing his punches. He's taking his time, landing the right shots in the right spot.
Chopping right hand from Tucker. Stab jab to the body from Flaz. Changing levels on that jab, always a good thing.
Now Flaz is slowly starting to come forward, whereas Tucker in the first round was the aggressor. Flaz sees something he likes. Not a lot of power again on the punches of Flaz, but he's throwing.
Nice left hand to the body connects and scores for Flaz. back to the body with a couple more shots. And that's one of the things, too, sometimes, Dre, when these guys have such a good amateur career, which Flaz did, body work is not always a point of emphasis until, you know, later on. We're in fight number 13, and he's invested early here in rounds 1 and 2 to the body.
Yes, he is, but they better learn the body work early and start to develop that, because that can be the difference between winning or losing these big fights or making the big fights a lot easier, because nobody likes it to the body, and it's the quickest way to drain an opponent.
Tucker using that feint with that front foot. Not really throwing that jab hand, though, out there as much as it sounded like his coach and father wanted him to do in between the rounds. Earlier this week, Mark Kriegel spent some time with Jared Anderson and someone very special to him, his dog Azul. Here's a look inside their special relationship. Javi Nukban, we've seen the dog all week long, and you may even see him tonight ringside at some point.
I think he will be ringside.
I just wondered if they got that approved or not. I don't know what hoops they had to go through to make that happen, but
I think they're gonna figure it out.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a dog person, so I would love to see Azul here ringside. I'd love to see action pick up a little bit more, and it looks like it is here as these two both connect to start round 3.
But in those exchanges, Tucker's high with his head and Flaz is in position. So even though Flaz isn't a one-punch knockout guy, he can land in the right shot and he can hurt Tucker. Tucker better be careful.
Nice counter shot. That uppercut looks like Tucker's trying to land when Flaz opens up, but do you like him back against the ropes like this, Dre, for Tucker?
I don't like Tucker fighting along the ropes. If he has to move slowly, keep your feet moving. Don't allow your back to stop against the ropes, because most fighters, that'll wake them up. They'll feel confident to plant their feet and begin to throw, and we see that with Flaz right now. So Tucker needs to move along the ropes. Don't stop there, and don't try to fight with your back to the ropes. It's not a good spot.
One of the things Tucker talked about this week at the press conference was, you know, I don't want to give him any room for confidence. You know, and I don't want to get hit. Well, I think he might have given him a little bit of a confidence with some of the shots that Flaz has got in there, and he surely has gotten hit. So things not necessarily going according to plan for Jahi Tucker. It doesn't mean he's not winning these rounds, but those were 2 of his points of emphasis, and hasn't been able to deliver so far.
Well, Tucker did well in the first round, even though he was a little anxious. The second round, he took his foot off the gas, and Flaz, that's where Flaz began to get confidence. And this third round, to me, is 50-50. They've gone back and forth, and Flaz seems like he has a plan. Tucker doesn't.
Nice slip and counter once again from both sides. Right hand, then slip, left hand from Tucker.
The punch that Tucker's missing is the jab. He needs to pick up his lead hand, the closest hand to his opponent. That's going to allow him to get the combination shots off and do it and not get hit in the process. But he's just throwing with both hands at the moment.
And right there,
youthfulness on display, inexperience on display, and he's got to try to bring all of this together so he can start to look more polished and be more polished. Flaz is just steady, nothing fancy, just steady to the body, steady to the head, and trying to capitalize on all Tucker's mistakes.
And now some blood from the nose or mouth here as he gets caught with the lead left hand from Tucker. As we resume round 4, Christina Poncher, Andre Ward here with you. The first fight on the night leading up to our main event. Jared Anderson taking on Charles Martin. Homecoming for the undefeated young heavyweight out of Toledo. 14 up, 14 down for Jared Anderson. He's in there tough against Charles Martin. Toughest test to date, former world champion. Looking forward to that in our main event.
Sounded like in the corner that Tucker and his father weren't seeing the same fight. His father's asking for more, and then Tucker would say, I'm doing that. Well, his father wouldn't be asking for it if he was executing it. So Tucker's got to settle in and believe that his father's here. He's seeing some things that he's not, and trust that voice. And the punch Good shot right there from Flaz.
That same right hand he's been getting tagged with.
He allows Tucker to make the mistakes, and he tries to capitalize with a counter. The punch that Tucker's father keeps asking for his trainer is the left hand. That is the jab. That is the closest hand to his opponent. He can build up points. He can confuse his opponent, but he can also set up all the bigger shots that he's trying to throw. He's abandoning that part of the process and just going for the big shots. So sometimes he lands and sometimes he doesn't.
Got caught inside with a short right hand again, and an uppercut then answers with a left hand. But you don't want to take two to get one.
That's not the plan.
Nope.
And I think Tucker is the better fighter, the more explosive fighter. But he's got to utilize his gifts and talents the right way. Doesn't mean you're going to win because you have more tools in your toolbox. Flaz is just keeping things simple. He's technically sound, and he's taking what Tucker's giving him. You make a mistake, I'll capitalize. You lunge, I'll try to counter.
You get the sense that Tucker's comfortable, even though he's taking these shots, and they're scoring shots from Flaz, that since they're not really coming with too much heat behind him, he wants to stay right there in the pocket. That was a good block with the right hand from Tucker. But it's been one speed from Flaz with all his shots.
Steady, consistent. Flaz has to fight in between the burst of Tucker because he can't meet Tucker punch for punch. Tucker's too fast, too explosive, so he's got to do it in a creative way, and he's trying.
And there's Flaz with a body shot. Both sides as Tucker takes an early walk. Round 5. Finally starts with a couple jabs here from Tucker.
But Tucker starts that way, but then he gets away from it. As soon as he gets hit or as soon as he sees a big opening, he abandons that. He goes away from the game plan. But if he actually stuck to that, I think this fight would be a lot better. I think we would see a sharper Jahi Tucker, and he'd be more efficient. He'd be landing more punches.
I mean, those were sharp, crisp jabs. He even doubled it up the last time when he shot it.
And Flaz is on the outside, and he's unable to get in and do what he's doing right now. He looked over here as if he heard us.
He might have. The crowd hasn't quite filled in here at the Huntington Center in Toledo so far.
A jab is not the fancy punch. It's not the punch that's going to get you on SportsCenter top 10, but it can set up the punch that will get you on SportsCenter top 10. You just got to believe in it.
Flaz missing on most of those shots in that combination as Jahi looks to use his shoulder to back Flaz back to the center of the ring. Nice tricky shot with the right hand from Tucker there.
Tucker's done some nice things offensively, but I think he can do some better things if he settles in and listens to his father.
Uppercut left hand connected for Tucker. As Flaz continues to push, he loves to go down to the body, then finish up top.
Keep him up now, keep him up.
Flaz looking to match Tucker punch for punch.
He's trying.
No shoulders, no arms.
Tucker doesn't need to be there. It's not where you rest. It's not where you exchange and go 50-50. You either have your opponent's back to the ropes or you have them in the center of the ring. You don't want to have your back to the ropes. Good shot right there from Tucker. Good counter. He's asking for Flaz to come in, so let's see if it works.
It's almost like Tucker wants to prove that he can still be defensively sound on the inside as Flaz brings the punches to him, but
10 seconds.
it just doesn't seem like that's the best place for him. little bit more distance. As you get off shots like that with the right hand to